getting a little bit higher. With every step I take, I'm getting good. Getting a little bit better, I'm climbing to the top. Never gonna stop, I'm getting good. Oh, shoot.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Oh Shoot. Welcome to this month's advice column. So like we do every month, you guys write in submissions and basically just say things you need advice on. I never know what I'm going to get from you guys. You guys go through a plethora, a wide variety of things, and we're going to address them. We're going to talk about them today. Just a reminder, if you guys ever want to submit for the advice column episodes or any of my submission episodes, go follow the Oh Shoot Instagram. It's just Oh Shoot Podcast. I always post them over on my stories over there, on my Instagram story. So that's how you're going to find out about submission episodes and everything. That's really where I get all of the submissions from. So if you missed an Instagram story too, I always put it to the highlights on my Instagram as well. So anyway, let's get into the advice column for this week. Okay. So first question we have, do you send out media kits when reaching out to brands, and how important is it? So this is something that I personally do with basically every brand. I guess it depends, and I can explain. So if I'm reaching out to brands, I don't think I'd send a media kit. I think I'd send essentially a media kit, but minus the pricing. So if you are pitching yourself to brands, I think you have to be willing to kind of give up that price point and work with what their budget is for the time being, and just kind of do like a deck, a PDF showing you off essentially. So showing your social statistics, the posts that you've made in the past, like showing off what you're capable of doing. A media kit, I feel like when I think of a media kit, I think of pricing as well. Your pricing and stuff is in a media kit. So, if you're pitching yourself to brands, I would definitely say remove your pricing and just kind of do like here's a PDF to kind of brag about myself and show you why I'm valuable. But if a brand reaches out to me, and a lot of the times brands will reach out to me kind of with a project already in mind and a budget already. So I feel like 75% of the time brands will come to me, pitch me a project, and they'll like list the budget when they are pitching this project in an email. So I feel like lately I haven't really been using my media kit as much because these brands kind of already either have worked with me in the past or already know what I can do on social media. So they just kind of pitch a project to me, and then we kind of go back and forth via email to negotiate a price. So my pricing isn't necessarily something that I send to them because it's like they've already got a budget that they've worked out. So to answer your question, I do sometimes, but other times I do not. Also, if you ever want to learn more about influencing or photography education, kind of how I built my business, I have my Find Your Influence course that opens up a couple times a year. So keep your eyes open for when that opens up next. Okay, moving on. Hi, Cassidy. I am shooting a destination wedding in late 2026, and the bride is so persistent on me finding a second shooter right this instant. Not only that, she wants to approve of one. Every person I've sent her, she calls me and tells me things she doesn't like about them. I assure her that I'm doing the editing and the second shooters do not get creative freedom. For example, she does like angled photos, but I'm stressed she is going to start acting crazy towards me, but also it's her wedding. So maybe she's just nervous. What do I do? So at this point with this client, I don't know if there is much else you can do to reassure her, unless it's like someone you've worked with in the past that you can be like 100%, this is the person that I want to work with. In the future, make sure it's in your contract that your second shooter is chosen by you. You have the discretion, you get to choose who the second shooter is, and you agree that it's going to be someone that can do what they need to do. And that the client has no say in that. That's a very typical part of a wedding contract. So definitely have that in your contract for the future. As of like right now, I think maybe give it a little bit and tell her you need maybe a month or two to put together a list of people, and then maybe get like 2 or 3 options and be like, of these 2 or 3 options, this is the person 100% I think we should go with. And when you deliver that info, maybe don't leave it open-ended. You know what? Actually, I take that back. Maybe don't deliver 2 or 3 people. Deliver one person and be like, hey, I've done a lot of research and I think this person 100% is the person that I'm going to use. And don't really leave it open as a question. Like, make it like point blank period. This is who I'm going to use. They said they're free, and you know, I've sent them a contract and I think it's going to be a great fit. And just kind of leave it at that. Because ultimately, like you said, second shooters don't really get that creative freedom. So like, it's not like they're going to be directing. It's not like your bride needs to be doing this, basically. I do think there are some type A people that probably just feel like they want a hand in the whole process. And I get that. So give her a little bit of grace. This is probably the first time she's playing a wedding. And she really wants to make sure it's going to be perfect. And I don't blame her. You know, she wants a perfect day, and you know, all of us do. When we get married, we want perfect wedding day. So, you know, that, give her a little bit of grace. Okay. Moving on. When should I start timeline planning with my couple? I always have timelines finalized 2 months before their wedding, but right now I feel like I either reach out too early that they don't have any details, or they're the ones doing the reaching out to me. I never want my clients to feel like they're in the dark, but what is too much or too soon communication? I think this is something that you might be able to figure out with your current clients and do a little bit of testing. I think it's different for every client. For me, I find that the 30-day mark, 80% of my clients know all the info that they need to know. But I do feel like there are a couple of clients who want that communication before the 30-day mark. So what I would do if I were you, because every client's different, I would offer the option for them to fill out your questionnaire or hop on a call sooner. So with your wedding workflow that you have with your clients, let's say you've got this questionnaire that you send out 30 days before your wedding. If you don't, that would be a great thing to implement, by the way. So we've got that 30 days before the wedding. Have another email scheduled to send out like 60 days before the wedding, saying like, hey, just letting you know, you're going to get a questionnaire soon with a bunch of this info. Just want to let you know, like to prep, get that info ready. But also if you're feeling overwhelmed, here's a link to hop on a call with me and we can talk through some timeline stuff, whatever. So you've got kind of that check-in. Some people can ignore that. Some clients are like, I don't need that. I don't care, whatever. Some clients are like, oh yeah, I actually do want a phone call check-in because I don't know what I'm doing. So you're giving them the option there, open-ended. Then when the questionnaire comes, one, it's not a surprise. They have that info prepped and ready. If they don't have that info prepped and ready, in your questionnaire email, offer like a link for them to schedule a call with you again so they can you can really work out that timeline. The key is communication and telling them when the next time that you're going to reach out is. So if you book them and then you send an email right there saying, thanks for booking, and then you don't talk to them again until the wedding, that's not good. And most likely you're going to have clients that are going to reach out to you. So in the whole span of time between booking and the actual wedding date, have check-in points via email. Even like just a couple of months after booking, being like, hey, just checking in. I'm here for you if you need If there's anything you want to hop on a call about, here's a link. Just to give you a timeline about things coming up, you've got a questionnaire coming 30 days before your wedding, and a timeline call 60 days before your wedding, just to let you know, whatever. So I think the key is open communication. But I would start that now, like literally as you're listening to this, whoever submitted this, start that and implement that right now, because the sooner you can get this system in place, the better it's going to be for your clients. So, that's a really good question. So this next one is from Monica. Monica says, I started in photography in June of 2024 and I had no experience. I learned how to use manual and I'm about to do my third wedding in February. I'm struggling a little bit with my editing style because people want more of a clean edit. I love the film vibe and I like prompts more than poses, but it seems like the feedback I'm getting from friends and family is that for their special occasions like newborn photos, they're going to hire another photographer, which is fine. I'm not hurt by that. But should I be offering more editing style that is more natural and less filmy, or does it just take time for me to find clients that love the film vibe as much as I do? This is a great question. Basically, what you're dealing with is a matter of what you love versus what your clients love. And I do think you can go either direction here. You can tailor your business to what your feedback is, but maybe the people that you want to be booking are not the people that like the clean edit, but the people you want to be booking are people that are going to love your work for what it is, this filmy aesthetic. I do find that people that love that film aesthetic are kind of like complete opposite of the people that like that clean edit. And someone that likes the film aesthetic definitely doesn't want a clean edit, and someone that wants a clean edit definitely doesn't want a film aesthetic. So if you're booking people that want the clean aesthetic, that's the feedback you're going to get. Right now, what you're dealing with is just the wrong clients for you. Now, if you are like, I just want to create a business that's going to make money, I would switch to the clean edit. If you're like, I want to make a business that I'm passionate about and that I feel artistically drawn to, stick with what you love. So, there are two different types of photo businesses out there. The people that simply want to make money, and it is a job. I get that. So those people are going to tailor their business to the feedback they get and to like the artistic feedback that they get. The people that just want the passion behind it and, want it to be something they feel artistically drawn to, they're the people that put their heart and soul into their images. They're artists, right? Like you can be an artist and do a clean edit too. That's not what I'm saying. But like right now, it's not a matter of clean versus film. Both can be artistic. It's a matter of passion versus booking the clients, truly. I think in the long run, having the passion is what I would go towards. Your editing style, that film look, it's a little polarizing in the sense that not everyone likes it. And that's something you're going to have to realize. That's okay. Now, I don't know how large of a market there is for that specific type of editing. Personally, I don't know. So that's something you're going to have to learn and find out, and maybe learn the hard way that maybe that's not how you should edit. But you never know until you try. Okay. That's all I have to say. Okay. This next one is from Angela. I can't figure out for the life of me how to have clear, high resolution photos on Reels. Do they always come out blurry after I post them? Oh, sorry, that didn't make sense. They always come out blurry after I post them. Do I need to export them at a different resolution when I'm adding them to Reels? Thank you. This is the most common problem that people have with Reels, that photographers have with Reels. The photos that they are taking, these amazing high resolution photos, do not end up looking high resolution. So My best advice for you is to import those high resolution photos into a video editing app that is like CapCut or, something like that, where you can import those high resolution photos. They're going to still be high resolution photos when you export them. Then your video is going to have those clear images already. So then when you're importing it into Reels, it should make those photos clear as they are in the video. Because what I think is happening sometimes when you put too high resolution of things into Instagram, I think it kind of brings the resolution down because it quite literally can't handle it. But I also don't know if that's true because I've never, ever had to export certain dimensions for Instagram or any of my stuff. But I also don't edit my videos in Reels because I don't like how the editing goes. Like, I don't like the layout of it. I think it's really confusing. So I don't even use Reels to like edit my stuff. So I've never tried to put a photo into a Reel before, like a high resolution photo. So I would say just edit from another app, edit your videos on another app and then bring them in. That would be probably my best advice. Otherwise, maybe download your photos web size. So when you like deliver a gallery on PicTime or wherever you deliver your galleries, just download those photos directly from your gallery and pick the web size option. And that might help. We're jumping into an ad real quick to talk about a longtime sponsor of the podcast. You guys know it. You love it. We're talking about Aftershoot. If you already don't know about Aftershoot, let me enlighten you because your world is about to be changed. Aftershoot is the fastest photo culling and editing app out there. The best thing about Aftershoot to me is how fast it makes my editing and culling workflow. Basically, what Aftershoot specializes in is automated AI editing, which is tailored to your unique artistic style. So not only can it cull through thousands of images so fast, it knows your editing style and it will edit your photos tailored to your style based on your preset and your editing. So when you open Aftershoot, you will start with culling and it's going to cull your images quicker with AI assisted culling. Aftershoot can automatically cull your images by detecting unwanted photos, which saves you hours of your time. It'll group similar images, filter unwanted blinks, filter blurry photos. Then once you get done with culling, we head into Aftershoot edits. With only a few clicks, and I actually mean that, it's literally only like 2 or 3 clicks, Aftershoot will edit your photos just like you normally would in your own style. You can set up a personal AI profile in your style, so Aftershoot will know exactly how to edit. There's precision straightening and cropping tools that will automatically crop your photos for you. And if you're ever editing on like an airplane or something, Aftershoot is always available without the need for internet. And honestly, there's nothing worse than getting nickeled and dimed for a program like this, so Aftershoot offers unlimited images and sessions for one flat fee per month. So if you're like me and you edit thousands and thousands of photos at once, it doesn't matter how many photos you edit, you're always going to get charged the same price. And today for Shoot listeners, you can get 15% off for anyone who buys Aftershoot using the link in the description of this episode. Thank you so much, Aftershoot, for being a proud sponsor of the podcast. And now back to the show. Okay, this next submission is from Emily. I've had my photography business for a couple of months now, and I've had no one reach out. My portfolio is not huge because the only shoots I've done are of family members or friends, but I've done a lot of posts and reels to try to boost momentum, and still nothing has happened. I'm not sure if it's because I'm young and not as well established, but I don't want that to take away from potential clients. Is there anything else I can do to gain more of an audience and create more bookings? So what you're dealing with is a classic case of like, I'm starting out and I'm trying to market myself and it's not working. It sounds like if you are doing photos of a lot of the same people, it sounds like a lot of your posts and reels are probably the exact same shoot. You need to switch it up and you need a different shoot in there. You need something that's a shoot that's going to help you gain momentum. For me, I can name on my hand exactly the shoots that I did that gained me so much momentum. It's like the shoot itself was really cute. The lighting, whatever it was, something about the shoot got me more traction than usual. And I really rode that momentum. Other things you can do. One would be work on your SEO / my question is, what does your website look like as well? It also sounds like you are young, which means if your goal is to book weddings, you might not get those for a little bit, because a lot of the times people start shooting weddings by just knowing people that are getting married. And then like, that's how they book their first couple of weddings. So I would encourage you to work on another marketing strategy. SEO would be a great one. So posting blogs to your website, blogging your work, all of that stuff. Even Pinterest as well. That's kind of like a form of SEO. Work on your word of mouth. Working with people you know is great because they can refer you to their friends, but work with strangers as well. And you might need to offer a couple of free shoots to get those strangers in the door. But once you start really building your portfolio, that is going to help you so much with booking clients. I think what's hard is like, you're kind of asking people to take a chance on you and to book you with your portfolio not being huge right now. But a lot of the times what people want is they want to be able to picture themselves in your portfolio. So that means you have to do the portfolio work before. So that's something you can work on. On Instagram specifically, change things up. Like I said, try a different shoot, try a new shoot, or change the type of content you're putting out. They say like, if you keep doing the same thing, you're going to get the same results. Quite literally, that is what's happening. Like, stop doing the same thing because you keep getting the same result. So those are a couple of pieces of advice that I'd give you. This next one is from Maxie. I'm switching over to emailing clients. I've been texting them all once we have, that didn't make sense. I've been texting them all once we have a booking set, but I feel like I'm always on my phone. I've tried email, but I don't know. I don't like it. It doesn't feel personable like texting does. I'm a family photographer, not a wedding photographer. Is it okay to stick to texting? Should I get a second phone? I feel like I communicate way better through text and don't seem as uptight. It also gives me anxiety wondering whether my email was sent to spam or not. If you like texting, if you feel like you can organize things like that, great. If you like are able to organize your client communication through texting, awesome. I don't know personally how iMessage is laid out to where you can organize this person's a client, this person's not. But I think a second phone is a great option. Cause you're saying that you feel like you're on your phone all the time. A second phone is great. And then you can quite literally turn it off during non-work hours. So powering it down at 5 p.m., powering it up at 9 a.m. I think that's a great option. Honestly, like I think it's actually the perfect option. Having a work phone is quite literally the perfect option for you. Okay, this next one's from Abigail. How to not blank when posing clients and remembering to take behind the scenes. I prep for hours ahead of each session to lay out which poses I want to showcase. And then it seems like the second I get to the shoot, I go blank. Before I even get out of my car at a shoot, I tell myself to get a BTS, but here recently I just keep missing them. Okay. So your question is, how do you not forget your poses? And how do you remember to take behind the scenes? So I have a couple of tips for you. Number one is develop a posing schedule. And in my head, this is like an order of events, a schedule that you quite literally follow at every shoot for the poses you're going to get. And this might seem a little rigid. This might seem a little intense, but if you really cannot remember the poses you planned out, you have to create a way for you to remember them. So one way of doing that would be creating a posing schedule, being like, okay, first we're starting with walking. For 2 minutes, we're doing walking. And then we're going to switch and we're going to do sitting. And then we're going to do this. And you kind of walk through the schedule. And another thing that really helps me is running through that entire session in your head beforehand. Like, I'm not talking about like, oh, I'm just going to like write it out and imagine it. I'm talking like sit there, picture yourself showing up to the shoot and walk yourself through, okay, what is the first thing I would do? What is the second thing I would do? Literally picture it in your head. You posing the client, see it visually. Okay, I'm having them walk now. Now, I think I want them to do like a little bit of like laying down in this field. So you're going to walk through that in your head. Keep a literal sticky note on your camera. Keep it on your hand. I don't care what you have to do. Like if you need to write stuff on your hand, you go for it. Keep a literal sticky note of all of the poses you want to do. I actually saw someone I just recently worked with, a photographer, do this. They had like a phone mount for their camera. You know how like there's like those mounts that you can like put your phone on your camera. But instead of using it for behind the scenes, they quite literally had it open and like had a note of all the poses they wanted to do. And it wasn't like the phone like locked or anything. The phone stayed open. The poses always stayed there. So it was so easy to just go and look, okay, number 1 was walking. Now let's do number 2, which is going to be laying. And like, so easy just to go through all of that. And like, if that's something that you need to do to remember the poses, then absolutely do that. That feels pretty discreet and feels pretty nonchalant. Like, it's not like you're like, okay, let's take 5. And then you study your poses again. It's just all right there in front of you. For the behind the scenes stuff, you really have to like tie specific poses with you knowing that you want to get a video of it. So if there's a pose that you do, let's say there's one really creative pose that you would love video of, tie the idea of that pose to you getting a video. So laying down, let's say there's a really cute laying down pose that you've planned for. When you get there, you're going to take out your Ray-Ban Meta glasses, you're going to set up your tripod, and you're going to hit record before you start talking. Because you don't need behind the scenes of an entire shoot, but having just that one pose is great behind the scenes. So tie your behind the scenes to specific poses. And always, if you do record on Ray-Ban Meta glasses, keep your glasses on at all times. Don't take them on and off. Just leave them on. Obviously like start and stop the recordings, but just leave the glasses on. Okay. Moving on, we've got, let's see, a couple of more. This is the problem I always run into is I talk too much. Okay. How do I plan my Instagram feed? Client posts versus personal posts. All covers edited with the same preset, or all covers taken with Digicam or professional camera help. So my philosophy for Instagram is that it quite literally is never, ever that serious. I do not think about my feed that seriously at all. I just like to post what I love, and I like to post what I think other people would love to. And I kind of base that off of what do I get the most engagement on, the most comments on. Also, I need to keep posting my work as well. So I try to tie personal posts, professional camera photos, and like actual client work all in one. I personally think that photographers should not be afraid to post iPhone photos to their feed. If it is in the context of a personal like photo dump or something like that, even if you don't feel comfortable making your the first photo of a slide of a post, like an iPhone photo, make that first photo a professional camera photo and then the rest of them iPhone photos. That's kind of what I did for a while, was like the professional amazing photo first. And then as you kept swiping, that was when you'd get into like my photo dump. I think it just really, a photo dump on your feed just really shows A, personality, B, your ability to capture aesthetic, C, it shows your hobbies, your likes, your interests, and it helps people get to know you. Like there's nothing worse than following a brand and not knowing a single thing about the person who's posting. Like that's what people love to see, is the story behind it. And if you are not shaking things up on your feed and posting things about you, where's the story? Where is the interest there? Yeah, your photography is great, but like people care about you. So what I try to do is I visually try to loop in similar colors. So if I have an iPhone photo that has like a similar color to what I'm going for, that can be the first photo of my photo dump. And that kind of helps me visually be like, okay, it's going to be okay if I post this iPhone photo. So I think, at least for me, I've found that going by color instead of like all professional photos, but instead dark light, blue, green, white, or whatever my pattern is, like that helps me more. And that makes me more okay with posting those iPhone photos. Okay. This next one is from Beth, and this is a little bit of a longer one. I feel so overwhelmed this season. I just opened up my books on January 22nd for 2025. And usually by now I have half of my year booked out. However, in August last year, I lost my parents. I tried to take time off to grieve, but I still had weddings, so I wasn't really able to. Then my physical health plummeted, and it was like my body was forcing me to slow down. I had 2 miscarriages. I got sepsis, surgery, and began to hemorrhage. I think it's hemorrhage. I've never had to say that word before. From complications. I ended up in and out of the hospital a lot and had to hire virtual assistants to help me with the weddings I already had captured and cancel other weddings. This impacted my turnaround times, and while all my clients were kind about it, after I personally was able to talk to them. Oh, I see. Although my clients were kind about it after I was personally able to talk to them, some were more frustrated than others. I've never had imposter syndrome before, but it's hitting me incredibly hard seeing what I missed out on from last wedding season. I'm happy for all of my other friends in the business, but it also kind of stings knowing that they're so far ahead in bookings now. I'm trying my best to get back on the horse and market myself, but I feel a little disingenuous. I usually have super fast turnaround times, and I really did try to give everyone the best experience that I could. I was emotionally, physically, and almost financially wrecked at the end of last year. I'm trying to remind myself of that while trying to push myself back out there, but I keep worrying that I'm going to end up blasted all over social media, like the sepia photographer, although it wasn't her fault. I'm a very private person. While I did explain my situation to my clients, I really would hate to have to air that out to everyone. Would you suggest moving forward? I feel anxious every time I think about posting and nervously watch my inbox for inquiries. I've been in the industry for 9 years, but I've never heard of any other photographers have to take such a huge break. I feel lost. Any advice would be amazing. Okay, Beth. First of all, I'm so sorry that you are going through all of that. That's really, really tough. And I just did an episode on how to do a business and run a business while still going through hard things. And honestly, it's hard. And it's hard not to take a break. And it's hard to have so many things on your plate, but also have personal things on your plate that take priority. So first thing I want to say, you said that you tried your absolute best to give people the best experience. You tried your absolute hardest. And that is really the only thing that you can offer is your absolute best. What you did was your best and hardest. And for that, you should be proud of that because you did what you absolutely could. That was the only thing you could do was try your best. And that's what you did. So that's something to be very, very proud of. A lot of people wouldn't do that. A lot of people would just let these weddings go and just whatever. But you tried your best, and that is something that I really admire about you. So let me give you a little bit of advice. I have not been in your shoes, but from my perspective, reading your story, I think that you need a fresh start and a fresh pair of eyes. A fresh start as in, let's rework your business from the ground up. Let's literally start over. I do want to say before we get into that, just because you had one hard season doesn't mean the rest of your seasons are going to be hard. This is probably the hardest thing that you've ever had to go through. Just because this specific wedding season isn't as booked out as you would like, that doesn't mean that the rest of them are going to be like that. You are jumping back into it. It's going to be slow. You had a slow season. That is okay. Okay. So I just want to say that first of all, a fresh start and fresh eyes. So what I mean by that, I want you to unfollow or mute anyone on Instagram that makes you feel like you have imposter syndrome. Anyone who you have been finding yourself comparing yourself to. And that might be hard. That might be someone that you are friends with. And you know, I'm not saying this for every friend, because I do think like, I don't know if I do it with like really close friends, but if there's someone that you feel like I cannot stop comparing myself to this person, you need to mute and unfollow them, because that is not healthy for you at this point in time. Eventually, it would be so good for you to be able to reintroduce some of those people back into your Instagram algorithm or whatever. But like right now, that is causing you to feel like you're an imposter, and we need to get rid of that, nix that. A fun idea. Why don't you try in this upcoming season of not having that many weddings booked? Why don't you try second shooting a little bit? If you have friends that are like, oh, I have so many weddings, offer second shooting to them, because I think that this is going to take a little bit of the burden off of you. You were saying that you were struggling with turnaround time and editing and whatever. But if you can get rid of that and just focus on the shooting aspect of it, which is probably why you started in the first place, was because you love shooting so much, I think that would be a great option for you. I also think it would be great for you to attend or create some sort of content day to re-spark your drive. You know, you feel unmotivated right now. You feel like you want to give up, but I cannot tell you how many times I have felt like an imposter. I felt like this is not the right career for me. And then all of a sudden I do one shoot that just re-sparks the fire, and now I can't get enough. And that happened to me one time, and I am so grateful. I took a chance and like did a content day and attended a retreat, because it was like that re-sparked the flame of, okay, I love this industry. I love photography. This is what I want to do. And I'm going to keep fighting for my passion. You have to keep fighting for this, Beth. Like, you have to. I'm literally speaking directly to you. Anyone else that's listening, like, I'm speaking to Beth. Mind your business. Okay, two other things. Systems. You need to be creating email systems and using editing softwares that are going to help you manage the load. It sounds like you just struggle with that load part of it now that like this big heavy thing is in your life. So manage the load, utilize technology for your favor. I know you said you were hiring virtual assistants, but something like an email workflow or an editing software is going to be way less expensive than hiring an actual person and hiring like a virtual assistant. And as far as marketing goes, I would love for you to start blogging and creating like long-term marketing schemes and marketing strategies that are going to help you withstand those long breaks if you do end up needing to take another break. Blogging is something that's great that kind of just builds over time. Same with Pinterest as well. Those things just kind of like develop over time. So create long-term marketing strategies. Okay, we've got 4 more and I'm going to fly through these. Beth got all of my advice. Sorry, guys. Okay, this one is from Dimitri. Is it a good idea to start my own blog? I began to write about a month ago, and it's focused on my journey from zero to hero in photography, but I'm not sure if it's still an interesting topic. I've tried to write in a similar style to the Julie and Julia film, including setting challenges for myself, reviewing both my successes and mistakes. So the question is it a good idea for me to start my own blog? Yes, most definitely. I don't know if the style of blog is necessarily what is going to help you marketing wise, but if you're someone that likes writing, you like setting these challenges for yourself, keep doing that. My recommendation for you would be to blog your work, write blogs that are SEO specific, location specific, but also maybe once a month or every 2 months, do this type of blog that you really love and do this check-in, and maybe even turn it into a newsletter. I feel like this thing that you're doing could be a really fun newsletter, or it could be a really fun Instagram caption. So maybe you start with the blog and you write these blogs, but repurpose that content over on other platforms too. I think it's rare that people are just reading blogs for fun at this point. I think you have to introduce that blog in some other software, or sorry, not software, like some other platform that is going to reach your audience. So Instagram, emails, TikTok, whatever it is. Okay. I'm only going to do 2 more. Hi, This is from Grace. Hi, I love your podcast. I've been doing photography for a handful of years, not crazy long. I'm not full-time yet, and I still feel like a newbie at times. There's just so much to learn and run as a business. I was wondering, when in my photography journey, is it a good idea to start investing in or paying professionals to help with my Instagram feed, website, logo designer, bookkeeping, etc.? I've made my own website, but I don't love it, especially for long term. I definitely want to invest in these things, but I'm nervous and I don't know if I can afford it. I'm wondering if it's worth it to do where I'm at. Thank you. So my best piece of advice to you would be, if you, let's say in your finances, you create a budget. Let's just have like a couple of months where we see, okay, could I afford $500 a month to be paying towards this person or whatever? If the answer is yes, then I'd say, yeah, go for it. Because having someone and hiring someone to do the things that you struggle with was probably the best thing I've ever done in my business. When I hired someone to make my website, I felt so confident that my website was going to convert bookings because my website was just that good because I hired someone to do it. It wasn't me. So yeah, I think those big investments, they feel scary. For me, I think I started with my website. That was my first thing I did. It was really scary, but because I made that leap, I was able to do so many things. Like, I hired someone to create my education website, help me sell digital products, and just show me how to do it. From there, I've been able to build a business that I never would have imagined. I don't think I could have done that without asking this person for help, without being like, hey, I need, and I will pay for your professional opinion to tell me how to do this. So just think of it in that way. Like, in investing your money into something, it is going to pay off. I want you to think about some of the things that maybe you struggle with, things that you feel like you don't have enough knowledge on your own. Those are the things that I feel like you should start on as far as outsourcing goes. Okay. And this last one is from, I think it's pronounced Joliet. I really want to book more weddings. I've done a ton of second shooting and I've shot a few sorry guys, I can't talk today. And I've shot a few okay. I need to calm it down. I cannot say the word wedding. And I've shot a few weddings where I'm the lead. However, I also have a lot of proposal clients. I want to market for both proposals and weddings on my socials. Do you think it makes sense to keep these on the same pages or make separate Instagram accounts for marketing weddings? Also, disclaimer, I want to turn my proposal clients into wedding clients, but many of them are traveling into New York City from other places. Others who are in the New York City area just have picked other photographers for their weddings. Please help. Okay, so what you're saying is the people that book you for proposals don't book you for weddings because the people who are in the New York City area book someone else for their weddings. But people who book you for a proposal in New York City are traveling into New York City. Okay, I see. So let's talk about this. I don't think you should do separate pages at all. Proposals are the first step in the ever beautiful photography client timeline. You know, maybe senior photos. Starts with senior photos, then they book you for their proposal, then they book you for their engagements, then they book you for their wedding, then they book you for your family photos, and then you've got a great client that will stick with you until the end of time. So a proposal is the beginning of that pipeline. I think that needs to be on your feed to then cycle people into your weddings. So if you only post proposals on your page, they're never going to see your wedding work. But you need to show the people that booked you for a proposal your wedding work, because although they are traveling into New York City, maybe they'll have you travel out of New York City for their wedding. You never know. And maybe this is something that you literally like pitch to them via email, like a couple of weeks after their engagement. I think having that client experience and working with someone in person is so valuable. If someone liked you enough for their proposal, they will bring you where they want to bring you. Here's a perfect example. When I lived in upstate New York, I booked a hike proposal. where I pretended to be a hiking guide for this couple. They came from Long Island to upstate New York, and they went on this hike. I guided them at the top of the mountain. He proposed. I took the photos. From there, they got married. They insisted on booking me. They brought me to Long Island. I did their engagement photos. They brought me to Long Island. I did their wedding photos because they liked my experience with the proposal. So with that being said, you need to keep those pages together because the proposals are not going to know about your weddings. They're not going to see your wedding work unless it's literally forced on them by following your Instagram. Plus, no one wants to run 2 Instagrams. That sounds horrible. No one wants to build 2 audiences. Just keep it all in one. And then just put in your bio that you shoot proposals and you shoot weddings. Bada bing, bada boom. There you go. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Sorry, I went a little bit over on time. I had so much to say today. I will see you guys next week for another episode. Have an amazing rest of your day.